Okay, yay. Alright. Yeah. So, I talked to my cardiologist, Dr. Pham, and, in any case, I was talking to him about the Lovenox shots, and, he's kind of, maybe suggesting maybe not yet, that way, because he's more concerned with possibly, bleeding out. And really with the Lovenox, it's true, with even more so Dad than Mom, but both of them really they bled out, and I want to. There's another word for hemorrhage that's I think it's associated with the use of blood thinner, and I'm not sure if the word is actually specific when like blood thinner in medical terminology, um, isolating, a direct um, term when hemorrhaging is caused by blood thinner. And I don't know why I can't think of it right now. I'll think of it in a little while. In any case, yeah, internal bleeding um, caused by, blood thinner. Well, anyway, Mom and Dad both, they had warfarin and Lovenox, and more so with the Lovenox. Both of them had it, um, pretty bad a couple times, considerable amount that almost kind of scary looking. What looked like a no abundant amount, really. Uh, Might have been almost, a normal expectation by a doctor. But, all that happening, while I'm taking care of him is kind of like, for the first time, kind of like, I'm not sure if I should be panicking, or what, when all that was going on. But, in any case, yeah, so, anyway, everything, that point. Anyway, I was explaining, my thoughts about that, and Dr. Pham, he's going more towards the make sure I'm taking my medicine as prescribed, as directed, and particularly the digoxin and the Vetalol. I'm supposed to take twice, um, and I haven't, so I'm going to start doing that like here as soon as I get through making this one, and give that a little bit of time. I want to try and not have to go to the hospital, but it's potentially possible that maybe so. Again, and that's one I'm trying to, I'm fixing to start going, um, to be monitored, with the blood, um, with the Coumadin. Um, in any case, I'd mentioned, specific types of blood thinner, and I started explaining some of it, and yeah. In any case, yeah. So that was said, and about the whole new approach to technologically advanced um, issues that yeah. In any case, so I expressed my viewpoint on Eliquis um, to him before, a little bit again today. As far as I'm concerned, um, I'm not sure if I should almost rely. I don't even like using that word rely. As far as like the difference between transmitter and receptor and inhibitors, as far as like a neurology and normally terminology used that would be involving like neurosensory and the brain. Um, and I mean, as far as like Eliquis goes, I mean, like I was telling him, Dr. Goel, I said, I'm almost positive, like 25 years ago, where I was particularly added this specific, not the only place, but I was hearing it quite a bit like 25 years ago, and it did not involve me personally, and I didn't really focus on it going beyond, at what might be a carefree, like heard it kind of like thing, but not my focus of attention and in-depth memory of like participation, other than maybe hearing someone else talk that way. but I am virtually positive that it was prescribed as a psychiatric medication. My thing about that was that what had been going on, as far maybe and like the home theaters are like, um, for real, like throwing at the alphanumerics about the power amplification, and I'm not sure about the 192, if it's MKZ, like a mega kilohertz. Um, there's something about a little bit difference with the 192. I mean, none of that information. It's more than likely has always been there and available, but never like involving any electronics or made available in that way. And I'm sure that the only people that would really know about that would be the degree levels um, of master's degrees. Yeah, for real. Way back in the 70s type of brains and genius about all that. I mean, what I'm talking about now is really not new to them that long ago. I mean, for real. But I mean, putting it all together and making it what it is now, I'm sure may have taken that long as well. But in any case, I was mentioning the alphanumerics of 192 specifically, with several, comparison. It all originated from, the Thessalonians and Mount Olives, okay? Not that, not to excuse the toilet from its, participating factors of some fine, upstanding citizenship, okay? It's the pearly gates of heaven, okay? Or deciding like you're gonna wake up one morning and be a Christian rock star, like a stationary engineer. Yeah, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, beyond the promissory notes of some greatness, some marginal spread and stock exchange with the Arc Link letters. Favor. Yeah, it's a must-have, yeah, but please go the other way, all right? Yeah. Anyway, so like I was like sending a whole bunch of that stuff, and it was like I know that like a lot of that stuff, it's like really somewhere up there that's like of some interest, to degree levels, and I'm so for sure of it, but you know, um, truthfully so. But the thing with this is that when I was going through all that, I mean, I was sending such an overabundant amount of like, alphanumeric equations to the Pentagon, the White House, Robert E. Rubin, the Secretary of Treasury, um, a lot of the Internal Revenue Service, the Treasury, and I mean virtually everyone, the Supreme Court, the Internal Revenue Service. I mean, television, radio, in Washington D.C. and some of the 12 Federal Reserve banks as well. Um, yeah, and certain corporations that personally, I've been interested in. Um, you know, truthfully so, and looked at, like that was like one of the things I always did was kind of stay in touch with, what major universities were doing as far as like signal processing and audio production, television production. Anyway, I was like studying in a whole different way, um, including legal terminology. I mean, like when I was going through the Center for Advanced Legal Studies, I mean, ridiculously, to my own surprise, and it's always true as of this day. I really learned more than I had anticipated or even truthfully thought. But I mean, like when it really just thoroughly gets to it, I'm like really getting serious about, what I have covered. I mean, I decided that, really, when I realized that the way it's practiced, of many different areas combined through circuits, um, one causation is another's effect. It's kind of the list goes on and on. Not that there's an inadequacy. It's just that the way it works is that in a circuit, it's kind of like it's kind of like every type of a practice involving law. I don't call everything involved with law an end result of processing in the way of what some people's perception might only think it might lead to, or some like grand royal flush thing. Um, yeah, or what that really might place direction on, um, in the method of banking, and it seriously it gets to be, it's like a, you know, it is so ridiculously not taught in religion, although the terminology really is there. Something about powers and principalities in high places, and it's so true about degrees of like major universities, that the principles, I mean, it might be like one thing of an entire lifetime to even manufacture a principle of many degrees that have been proven to be like some of the oldest like the nation has to offer, and their expertise in that way, and combine the one principle, maybe created and manufactured for maybe a once in a lifetime situation, that when that principle and everything is met the requirements, that it's the one and only time, because normally they wouldn't have a need for each other, in that way, unless it was like involving a new type of um, integration, if not considered an advancement of using what's available to increase the thing about it. Yeah, so something about the principle in that way, it's like an extremely big deal with degrees, making that happen, and it seems that some of the experience, like just with some of the jobs of degrees, it's almost like the difference between a degree and non-degreed thing about the non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization, and the method of banking at the bank teller window. Non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization. Amazing. It's almost like someone told you that the national deficit, available in closed caption for the hearing impaired, is almost a term used somewhere comparable to like the New York Stock Exchange's commercial paper, yet almost like a certificate of deposit in the way of what non-degreed, non-degreed, non-transferable, non-negotiable itemization is, to like I mean, not limited to a registered charity, in the way of even terminology used in when a student gets a student loan, somewhere between the guarantor and the chain of command with terminology of actually who's guaranteeing, who's providing that through forbearance, or a default, or a hardship, or whatever the case may be, or a thorough repayment. And really something about the method of banking of non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization. It's almost ridiculous that it suggests an automatic perception of potentially going to be used, and if the only thing about the word user in the bank is potentially using a non-degreed, non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization over an endorsement, and what that means in a circuit. Yeah, so what that is in real estate. I've heard that non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization used considerably, several times, during the same time. Maybe in need of each other. I don't know that, but it was during the same time period. Not that it's anything other than maybe within the same week of advertising. I think there was a while before without it. The before thing about processing finder's fees, finder's fees processing, people finding people who are due refunds on FHA HUD loans, finance that paid insurance on, I believe it's the loan for the value of the home itself on the principal, and any cumulative interest transparent accountability that had built up and did not default. And based upon the FHA and HUD thing, you've probably seen it on TV, and some people were trying to capitalize on it by selling people into believing there's more to it than just simply going and finding maybe all the defaulted methods of like refunding people a percentage of insurance that's due to them as a refund because it was never used. And there's a clause in FHA and HUD involving like loans for like a home, purchasing homes that that they actually used and actually made it available to locate some of the people that the refunds were due to. They would get a processing fee for locating it, and the only thing about the processing is locating them and taking them and arranging for them to get their refund, because many people did not know, or some people, and that happens a lot, reading contracts or the fine print. Yeah, and that was like some of the information that was provided with HUD and FHA loans. I don't think it was even involving. I don't like using that word mortgage. I think it's almost a misperception. Totally something that I'm not real thrilled about the word mortgage. Okay, for like so very many reasons, and normally like when it like originates from the original, for example, and I've heard it used like from the original principle on the amount, and used as terminology with a monthly payment, and refinancing and borrowing on borrowed money is more so what a mortgage is than anything, not necessarily the principle on an original point of origin, and not even refinancing or using the equity in that way to consider any, if you want to call it equity, to go beyond what would be maybe considered a percentage, if not a down payment towards a larger amount, would be more along the lines of like a mortgage. But I've heard so many different approaches with that one particular thing about a mortgage that it's kind of like I mean, it's so not funny, and I mean, for real. And in any case, so like the FHA HUD thing about processing finder's fee for getting people their due refunds for, and I believe the insurance was predominantly the factor, and accumulation, because there had not been a need to file for any type of claims that the insurance covered should default happen for like any reason. And I think that's really something, whether if it was like separate and individual, anything other than included with the principal. And I think with FHA and HUD that it's automatically included, and based on that fact might have been maybe insignificantly not really ignored, but considered. They had already reached the level that anything more at that point would like signing or agreeing to the actual amount a principal or cumulative interest over a period of 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe even 40 year principal in that way. But anyway, there was like insurance that was involved, and since there hadn't been any defaults, all the good on time stuff that took place, well, all that money, I think it was like a form of insurance that likewise, in addition, not having any claim on it or any covering any potential, maybe even a late fee, or a hardship, a period of circumstance that might dictate a need for maybe something that would be maybe a leave of absence or unemployment that might maybe prolong a delayed, um, you know, payment in that way, might be covered with that. But anyway, there was like an insurance, I think, that's involved with HUD and FHA that way. In any case, yeah, they had talked and stressed that that was part of it. I'm not sure if that was all that was involved with the FHA HUD refund and a finder's fee processing the refunds to the original holders of that, yeah. So anyway, yeah, so, I was looking at that for a while. And then it got ridiculous that everyone was wanting to capitalize on it. And like, get your version today. Yeah. Get your version today. Well, all that's great, yeah, yeah, for real, but, yeah, it's almost like the King James Version. Yeah. For it is written thing, yeah. It is written, yeah. Get your version today, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, or know how to be yourself and be accused of, like, not being a version of yourself, yeah. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, if that actually falls anywhere near what a template might suggest of it's not a breach of copyright, right? An identity crisis, trying to launch a new career with, a standard suitable at a degree level of, like, reputable standards of consensual participation, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so, like, I was, like, looking at that. Anyway, there's that fractal again. It's a little bit darker. I have a little bit more lighting in here right now. The lamp I took and turned it, like, straight up towards the ceiling to kind of like soften the the lighting. But anyway, yeah. So I'm kind of like looking at that, and I'm still trying to think about that. The degree non-degree thing about the principle in a way, even biblically, powers and principalities in high places thing. Not necessarily anything at the high school of principle, like at high school of principle. Truthfully so, but I'm thinking about more along the lines that when there were certain integration of like different expertise involving normally a bachelor degree of whether it would include, like I say, principle normally is involved with maybe interchangeability and compatibility and integration. Not always integration, but truthfully, at some point, So, I mean, all that combined, and for it to all work, involving like degrees of like expertise that would normally not have anything to do with each other, like a once in a lifetime thing of like building a high rise, and a generation during that time, that would naturally be the first time, or like versus the entire generation, like building it and if not even being involved with it, is what I'm really getting at. Building most high rises is going to be an automatic 5 years, if not 7. I mean, at a pretty much a 24 to maybe 30 floor high rise. It's an automatic, 5 years for real. I mean, potentially, give or take, if weather's going to be a factor, if it's going to be like unionized, like 24/7, 365 a year. When I was involved with it, I mean, just from being around and curiosity, just wanting to know kind of like thing, some of the journeymen and some of the degrees that they're doing, talk to as many people as I could whenever I felt like kind of like thing about stuff like that, yeah. So anyway, yeah, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so okay. Anyway, see how much time. I've already spent way more time and I've been doing it like more and more, talking more and more than I. It's not that I don't intend to. It's just that I didn't anticipate, like, every time, like, I've been starting to talking as long as I did about something, and I'm just like, at randomly just throwing it, you know, right there at it, so anyway, I'm trying to stay focused and concentrated with, the concentrated, you know, um, information that won't, just go on and branch off, and stay, like, mainlined, and, if I decide to upload some other stuff on YouTube with me talking, I'll think about it. Most everything on YouTube that I've talked about, I mean, it's just like, I just start talking, okay? And sometimes I look at it, and I didn't really, like, some of the most, like, all my music videos, I didn't plan on, like, talking on any of them, other than, really introducing, the band, the singers, or whatever focal point, the name of the band, or the band being the name of the singer, or whatever the case may be. And, I watch myself spontaneously. So, I mean, it's not that really, it's like a big deal. But really, I mean, after several times, I'm kind of like looking at myself going, you got to be kidding me. And so sometimes all that, at the moment, spontaneous reaction might seem to be, like really not like a big deal, but really on YouTube, I mean, and when it could be like, ongoing for, the remaining years of a person's life, yeah, it becomes like ridiculously a big deal. But, truthfully so I thought about that, and I'm waiting because I'm going to probably redo the entire thing. I mean, I have like probably more than 250 music videos. And really, I had planned on, I might go ahead and do like maybe, 3,000 for real, but I'm probably going to start off with just 500 and make the best of 500 in that way, and then narrow it down and decide if I'm going to, like, maybe import, export, or whatever the case is. Maybe between YouTube channels. I only have one YouTube.com channel, and that is the Wade, ASVPRIDDY channel, my channel, yeah. And so anyway, I was just like, I got to the point that I felt the need. I was feeling some kind of stress thing about, feeling like pressure within. Maybe I just need to really seriously just get it on YouTube as soon as possible, So that's really what I started doing. I mean, I didn't plan on doing it that way, but I really started feeling the need that way. Anyway, yeah, so, in any case, yeah. So, yeah, alright, so, I'll probably go back and like, introduce every song by every singer, every band, without really saying anything personal about, what I like. Well, obviously, I like it. I mean, I'm the one using it and purchased it and practiced it. But honestly, I mean, I don't need to really go beyond that other than introducing. And it seems to be so much more professional and not ridiculously personal in a way of maybe what would be dictated as a, a disciplined type of presentation, not deviate with a, I don't like calling it careless, because as ridiculously as, truthfully, it gets to look that way, even sound that way, yeah, that was not my intent, really, but really, truthfully, ultimately, it gets to that, it's kind of like I said, I was like watching myself, listening to myself on some of those, and it's kind of like, oh man, but anyway, it's really not a big deal, but, so I'm gonna like probably go back and do some of that, if not all of it, over again. Maybe just redo like everyone. But like like I was telling you, when I first got I haven't really used my digital video camcorder that much because of my phone. It's so much easier, and it gets a really good recording. But I want to get to the point to where I'm using really my digital video camcorders. And I still want the Sony HXR NX100 digital video camcorder. I mean, most definitely a must-have. And I mean, it has really. I mean, the XLR. It has the I think it's called the SDI. It's like a BNC connector that also, in addition, makes the optional timestamp available, and coordination with like I think time zones are optional, which can be chosen. But anyway, you know, it's a coax cable with a BNC, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, you know, it might require, you know, a little bit more equipment, but kind of like, you know, broadcast and record and a live streaming with, like, you know, television, even like live via satellite. I think the SDI makes all that with a coax cable and a BNC cable. You know, and then, you know, I'm not really thrilled, maybe, of having Wi-Fi, or the need for Wi-Fi, or really even Bluetooth in that way, for my own personal reason of thorough control, and not the potential of, you know, some, like, you know, far beyond expertise and degree support the entire situation. So I'm trying to avoid, you know, what all that might mean for someone else, and not be, you know, my thought of what experiencing, or shouldn't even have to put up with experiencing. I'm trying to avoid that kind of stuff, or anyone's excuse, in any kind of way. That, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, truthfully, so yeah. So the Sony HXR X100 digital video camcorder. It's got the XLR for the two XLR. Normally not limited to condenser microphones, but XLR is predominantly an automatic condenser microphone in that way. In any case, you know, there's all kinds of microphones, but really, in any case, it has that can, like, go through the mixing board. You know, when I hooked some of my other digital video camcorders up, XLR, you know, hooking the XLR up, and what I have, like, on I have 32 channel mixing board, and on each channel it has an XLR and a 1/4 inch in, a 1/4 inch out, and I think it has 3/4 inch and one XLR. In any case, you know, one specific line in, line out, and an auxiliary. That's both an I/O, input output, is what it is, yeah. And an XLR on each separate channel, going all the way through, like, 32 channels. And assigning a 4 mixdown fade, predominantly into a stereo, or, you know, it's optional. It can be used in recording, because, you know, like I say, I have that Tascam 32 channel digital Porta Studio SD, and when I was going to get that Tascam 32 channel, it was like focusing on the compact disc, and you know, making masters, compact disc with a master recording, with, like, you know, if need be, you know, recording each channel separately with a total of, like, 32 separate channels, or any combination of mixing, buzzing, or assigning those 32 channels, or grouping, or, you know, live and post-production, and what editing would be in that way. So I mean, it does quite a bit, and I think it actually actually, will process information. Um, anyway, before I get into it, predominantly it's for audio production, but I think it does some very very much needed type of processing involving audio, video, as well as the video side. The Tascam. I think it's called a DP32 digital SD. Anyway, I was going to get the DVD. I was going to get that, and they were going back and forth of availability. And when I went to go get the DVD to actually make masters recordings for the 32 channel, they discontinued it and went completely to the MP3, MP4 format, as well as the SD card that way, and with a USB memory stick in that way with like MP3 and MP4, and that's what I have now. In any case, yeah. So all that in combination with a 32 channel mixing board and video. Like when I started recording, I was recording all day, every day. I would have done it like all night too. But anyway, ultimately it was like every day for like months. I probably recorded pretty close to 500 single individual songs on my digital video camcorder alone, plus what I was doing on the phone, my mobile phone, and what I have on YouTube is predominantly more so from my mobile phone because it's faster, easier, convenient. But I'm fixing to take the time to. But like I'm looking for carpet now, so I'm going to like rip all the carpet out, except for mom and dad's old room that I already had carpet. Like 3 or 4 years rolled up, and was going to put in a different room until mom had passed away, and then all that other was going on. Then dad got cancer, and he passed away. So I decided to take all their old carpet out and put that burgundy red carpet in there and put all my exercise equipment in that room. So so like that's new. The other carpet that I put in the other room, it's new, but it hadn't even been used, and it still needs to be shampooed. Ridiculously true. Hadn't even been in it, and it really needs to be cleaned and vacuumed, and yeah. So but in any case, I'm not getting new carpet for that room. It's new carpet. But anyway, like my bedroom, the hallway, and the living room, I'm gonna take all that carpet out. Yeah, I would consider the same burgundy red, shag carpet, to match my drum set, and that's Strata red, with a Pearl Vision drum set with a Strata red, with the black hardware. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the blue, for both my room as well as the big living room. And I'm gonna wait, and I'm going to see if it's really going to be a good decision. Normally it would be an automatic, not a concern about it being a good decision, anything other than choosing, and I have to consider any other external factors. Yeah, for real. So anyway, I'm kind of waiting and seeing something about that. So, anyway, I got the cutter. I was going to buy some regular scissor type of, power scissors to cut the carpet. But what I got, I just got it like yesterday, is a round disc that cuts carpet leather. And instead of it being scissors, I've learned from like scissors that sometimes if it's like held at the wrong angle, the scissor blades will like split and sometimes bend from just that amount of force, and it will never cut the same ever again. So I decided to get that one with a round wheel, and it's got like a U shape um, deal on either side. It keeps it like aligned, but yet cuts at any angle, like, you know, without a problem, and doesn't present the issue of like you know, depending upon two blades being perfectly calibrated at angle to get the perfect cut. I mean, it's just really one round disc and a couple of like U-shape um, guides that, and it actually sharpens the round disc at the same time. And it's like way better, more dependable, lasts a lot longer as far as like even having a need to change it because it sharpens itself. Anyway, I'm thinking about trying to get in here and maybe at least cutting the carpet. And the way it is, I mean, seriously, you know, I put my feet in that hot water with the immersion heaters, and yeah, so the hot water I don't think is what I'm going to use to maybe cause the fluid to like sweat through my pores on my feet. I don't know what that stuff is, but it's not you know, when I first did it, it was because the pressure in my legs had built up with the fluids. I mean, really, I mean, it was like really painful, and the fluid had built up so much in my legs that it started squirting out of my pores on my legs at various different places on both legs, just squirting out. Um, I mean, you know, 2-3 feet when it like came through the skin. It like really kind of hurt. It's almost not funny that, you know, I mean, it really was a little painful, yeah. So anyway, I went out there and bought that new um, hot water foot massage for it, right? And that's when, after about 15-20 minutes of sitting on my feet in 118-degree water, that white film, that Mugu Gaipan looking white stuff. If you've ever eaten Mugu Gaipan, like at a Chinese restaurant, I've seen it more so on the bleached. I don't like using that word bleached, but like more of a whiter, phenomenally true Mugu Gaipan. It's not always like scrambled egg would present like the yellow, and how they get it to turn more so white other than the egg white itself. But anyway, yeah, truthfully so, and it's so something about like the summit meetings in Geneva, Switzerland now. I mean, it's so, I mean, ridiculously looking very much so like that. And something about the Saxon Goldman Gold Rush days. Even a band rush sings about certain factors, and it's kind of like, you know, the weight in the water thing. Panning for gold in the gold rush days in the river. And like the delta force and all that stuff about the mouth of the river. And delta ultimately getting to, yes, it's sigma, you know, probably the biggest of probably maybe 5, like sigma, alpha, delta, beta, kappa, phi, you know, something that sororities and fraternities would identify. You know, how true it is about sororities actually choosing something like sigma, alpha, delta, kappa, phi, or something, you know, along those lines. And I'm not sure how they actually choose, or, you know, based upon, if you want to call it a hooked-on phonics or a syllable issue of implication. I mean, I can grasp that really simply and easily. As far as like the academic term of definition, if that would be ambiguous or something like, you know, sigma, alpha, delta, kappa, phi, in that way. You know, I'm saying like degree graduates with their license plates have all their symbolic representation, and sometimes you'll even see the what looks like a horseshoe, but it's really an ohm, symbolic symbol for an ohm. yeah. So anyway, yeah. And then like the delta, the triangle, and that way, or even the pyramid on U.S. dollar. And like I said, I was getting to that pi r squared thing, um, with the tennis court and the Vantage Love 30 thing, and the secret de facto pi and pi r square thing, empire thing, yeah. Um, pi r squared, and something about the homeowners association being HOA, and the General Motors Acceptance Corporation being GMAC, and both of them alphanumerically being 24. Or the military time thing. Yeah. Anyway, so like getting to the IAEA being 24 as well, or the big Marlon Brando thing, the big O thing, equating to the 39 yay thing. Ultimately getting to the 10 and the binary numbers and sequencing characterization and sets of 4, yeah. After all that, computer language and computer programming. All you need is, you got the goods, got the mods. Yeah, got the mods, man. Got the gyno aeronautics. Got the global eye. Got the but I have aptitude, globalization, and international financial management. The Eisenhower nativity point of origin, like Eisenhower's spotted a need for the Statue of Liberty to, represent not only the 7 countries of Europe, and the euro dollar, some significance, a little bit, not limited to the 12 Federal Reserve Banks and the New York Stock Exchange, some exchange commission, or the discount window, like huge mega multi-million-dollar transaction of importing and exporting, or anyway, it's kind of like I was thinking about the Sox and Goldman and the Gold Rush thing, and the Mugu Guy Pad, and digging for gold is like, the pasty symbol. I mean, had I not stuck my feet in that hot tub, and the way everything is happening, it's almost ridiculously not funny. It's still not funny anyway. But I was thinking about, like brass is like gold colored, and those pants that they use could be even comparable to even a symbol. Well, anyway, like John Wayne, there was like quite a bit of John Wayne movies with a chef named Hop Sing, and very rarely, but Mugu Gaipan really has been something in John Wayne's movie, and Wyatt Earp. I mean, that's even older. I'm not sure if that's like, a great grandfather, so I'm not sure how old the Wyatt Earp thing is, but I mean, I was like really young and knew about it. It's almost like, I was watching a John Wayne movie, Flying Tigers. I mean, I've heard my name on and off, quite a bit, throughout the years, and that's like one of the movies where John Wayne is like a pilot, for like one of the Flying Tigers, and his name is Wade, okay? And Flying Tigers is like 151, and, yay! All that mental telepathy, mine is God, and 151 Secret Service, and Jesus Christ, and, Holy Spirit, and all that stuff. I don't like focusing too much on the subliminal message, minus. Oh no, not the 26 lie thing. Oh no. Yeah, but anyway. So anyway, whatever. Anyway, like John Wayne's chef, many times I focused on that. Hop Sing, and the pan, and actually the feed in the river, and something about that. And I'm trying to remember if the connectivity gets to that acronym GIT, G-I-T, the Geospatial Information Technology. Feet being 36 as well, and Chase Oil and Subconscious Mind Shares and Houston, Texas. Yeah, yeah, great. And yeah, Electronic Power and all that stuff. And Alphanetics USA and Apparel Texas, Home USA and all that stuff. Anyway, Anyway, oh god, hopefully I'm going to go to sleep here a little bit. I'm feeling the need. So anyway, in any case, I was thinking quite a bit about that, about the Wyatt Earp thing, because I was at Vantage Love 30 and the secret de facto pi and that pi r squared, and several things involving Empire, not limited to Queensryche or the video thing or the Empire State Building thing, or what Empire might suggest to even M1, M2, and E3, domestic monetary and gross national product as far as aggregates go. Or what, the pi r squared and Robert E. Rubin, because it's amazing as the number 3 spelled out is 56, okay, and through studying alphanumerics, even more so when I started using sets of 2 numbers and alphanumerics in words, because when the alphabet is reversed, like M is N is M, because those are the 2 letters in the center of the alphabet. And like I had mentioned before, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they focused on 1913 and 1914. They acted like they didn't use 2 different dates or years, but they still did, and didn't act like it at all. And that's the same with the 12 Federal Reserve Banks. They did use 1913 and 1914, and acted like they didn't, like not anything was recognized as different or changed. In any case, that's my point, okay? But yeah, that is very much like, the very beginning of the 12 Federal Reserve Bank system in North America and the U.S. dollar. The entire Federal Reserve, 12 Federal Reserve Bank, was predominantly taught by Jehovah's Witnesses, not necessarily the bank, but the dates. Those are the dates. And really that's all I needed to know. That way, like in the Watchtower of the Jehovah's Witness Church, because when like the alphabet is reversed, M is N is M, 13 is 14, 14 is 13. Okay. So I was like studying. I didn't even know what I was looking for. I mean, when I first started, I didn't know what to look for, or should I even go any further beyond this point? Anyway, I kept doing it, and I found interest in that way that actually led me to use like 13 is 14 was my first, of the 2 numerical values, alphanumeric values in the alphabet, that when the alphabet is reversed, it's reversed, and so I started actually using that, but instead of like 13 is 14, it had got to when I realized that I'd taken computer science real short briefly, and got the bare minimum in the computer science class, because I didn't stay there long. But anyway, the binary numbers, 0 and 1, was something that was being covered at the very beginning of computer science, and any combination of the 0 and or 1, or just like the 1 only, or the 0, in any combination, there's only 2 different numbers of sequencing and characterization, and 4 that actually create the computer generation of what you see on the keyboard. Okay. Likewise in programming, beyond that point, because of the way sequencing happens with binary numbers, allows, like when you see like computer programs that are written, how sequencing and character sets a characterization and sets a 4 ultimately looks like a lot of stuff involving, all different caps and punctuation and um, stuff like that with programming, um, as compared to just, normal diction or citing or um, format, content, and body of like a type of letter. Um, anyway, anyway, I'm kind of brainstorming right now. Um, I'm gonna take a break here real soon. I've already been on here 55 minutes, almost 56. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, it gets to that point about the Wyatt Earp and the chef Hopsing. Okay, and Hopsing is what I'm counting from, the ing, sing, Hopsing. So what, 30, 49, 50, 60, 65, 75, 80. That's like 88. Hopsing. Okay, and automatically it's like a New Deal Act. The Roosevelt New Deal Act. New Deal being 64, New Deal Act being 88, and Oldsmobile Delta 88, the Delta Force, the river, the pyramid, the triangle, and then the pi r squared. Somewhere between the tennis court and the fancy stuff 30. I mean, it's automatically like a diamond. Some of the information I was looking for involving diamonds that ultimately, like the European thing and the euro dollar to like Egypt and Africa. In that way with like what importing and exporting means to other countries' monies, like at the New York Stock Exchange, or even comparable reference to the pi r squared, and how the pi r squared is like almost like, not just one triangle in the U.S. dollar, but like or one pyramid representative of a triangle. Although like the pi r squared being like the two triangles in the Star of David on like the Star of Israel being a 6-point star or two triangles. So I'm looking at that pi r squared like once again. I'm just really thinking about a lot of stuff in my memory. And the Wyatt Earp thing, the exclusionary rule provision, and Wyatt Earp and Earp technology, because the IEEE organization is the acronym IEEE O is 39, the same as ERP, ERP, of like Wyatt Earp, and you hear the pronunciation of like Wyatt's Cafeteria and Wyatt Earp, but based upon the pronunciation, it can be spelled two ways, if not three. Yet WHY is 56 as well. The 56 is 10 ultimately continually seem to be leading to a Roe v. Wade thing about the abortion being 94. The word abortion is like 94. So is adoption, the complete opposite. The same as 115 being intelligence, and the exact opposite being 115 itself, or something about the a telepathic face thing. Yay, alright, yeah. Anyway, there's some other alphanumerics about it, but anyway. So in any case, it got to that point that oh god, that Wyatt Earp and that Hopsing on the river thing, and the symbolic representation on the backside of the US $1, and the Mugu Gaipan being like the white stuff that like it sounds like Idol Cure is actually singing about the feet, and like even Rush and a lot of bands that I've listened to my entire life. If I want to put my feet in that the hot tub, this vibrating foot massage this last time, and if that white stuff, that gooey stuff, that film looking on all over top and side of my feet, I probably wouldn't have thought really anything about it. Just like I always have for like 25, 30, maybe even longer. But when that happened, I mean, it kind of like, so, plus I've been studying stuff like that. I mean, for like decades. It was almost like an automatic thought for pasty cymbals to be, obviously I'm a drummer. I don't even use pasty cymbals. But when, I don't know why I don't remember, they're identical twins. Dane and Phil Cisak. Well, anyway, when I got back home, he was like the drummer for New Hope Church. Okay? And he used pasty cymbals. But they only had a 5-piece drum set there. Anyway, I went there. He was fixing to leave and move to Austin. And so, like, I played the drums there for like about a year with Howard Agnew, and Kyle. I'm gonna have to, yeah, about a year, yeah. So I was there like, all the time on, during service and playing the drums there. But anyway, in any case, yeah. So, he used pasty cymbals. But when I put my feet in there, and that white stuff was coming out through the pores of my skin, I started thinking about, all that stuff. And all the songs I'd heard my entire life for like decades involving feet, it didn't have any significance. But, and like, it's like, you probably heard the phrase, has a whole new meaning. Once again, I mean, it's kind of like, for real, I mean, a whole new meaning. Totally changed my perception about so very many things about it. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta take a break, I gotta take a break, I'll talk to you later.